What's up guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to another podcast. So today I have David with myself. David is the owner of PNG Health Store in Chelmsford. Thank you so much for coming on. If you'd like to explain to the listeners a little bit about yourself, your industry, what you do as a job, and yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Right, thanks for having me, man. First of all, my name's David, co-owner of PNG Chelmsford. As you said, we're a sort of health and supplement store. We're trying to do things a bit differently, and we're trying to cater more towards people's needs, people's demands, as opposed to just being a generic store and stocking a set range. We mainly tailor towards customer demands. So if there's a demand for a product, we'll make sure that we sort of get that branding and get that product in. We've been open since June 2018, so we've not even been open a year yet. So we're still sort of learning and getting our sort of foot in the door with this industry. But so far so good, going really well. Just planning now for the future and up and coming projects. And yeah, so part of this podcast, I guess, is asking me some questions, and
Fantastic.
I'll be happy to answer the best I can.
Fantastic, mate. And guys, if you're listening, I know kind of David and the co-owner Cameron from the previous job that I was working in the gym. So I know these guys personally. Myself, they're very local. So let's just talk a little bit about your business and how you kind of came around to doing that. So we spoke briefly. I was quite surprised, it's been open almost a year now. So let's talk about that period before it opened, starting your business. Firstly, what made you kind of do it? What was your thought process, and how did those initial talks with Cameron kind of begin?
Right. So initially, I was actually in Oxford, Bicester. Have you heard of Bicester Village?
No,
Bicester Village is basically like a massive designer outlet village, kind of like Freeport, but times 5. It's basically a glorified Freeport. I was working for Hugo Boss in Bicester Village, and I moved there for some personal reasons, but I then needed to move back to Essex for personal reasons, and I basically had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what direction I was going in. Had some money saved behind me, and just moved back thinking I don't know what I'm going to do. Cameron was an old school friend, and we've been in contact for a little bit because he was actually looking himself to establish a business. The original thing we had thought of was a nightclub.
This could be a completely different podcast right now.
And at this point, the conversations was literally just dreaming. It wasn't anything set in stone. We were just like, wouldn't it be great if we did this? So it all started with an idea, of we want to do something. We didn't know the how, we didn't know the when, we didn't know the where. We just thought we want to start something. So I guess what you could take from that is it all started with a simple idea, and eventually the idea expanded. So the original idea was a nightclub. That then changed, obviously. That then escalated to a sports shop. So kind of like a Sports Direct kind of sports shop. And we kept these ideas very quiet because both Cameron and myself had never ventured into any business together or separately. So we didn't tell anybody because you know the hate you're going to get when you're just a normal bloke and you're saying I want to start this. People will say no, that's impossible. So we started researching how we can go about it. Obviously the first thing was financial. Second thing was premises, so location. And the original idea was to open a sports shop. If you guys are local, you'll know Bewley Park. Bewley Park is currently undergoing a massive expansion. And there are a load of sort of stores being opened there and new shops popping up. But the pricing in Bewley Park is ridiculous. So that was our initial idea, Bewley Park. And the location we're at now, which is more in towards town, we were literally driving past and we saw the premises available to rent. So I basically have experience in this sector before, working for other companies. So I worked for sort of large companies and worked for smaller, more independent companies within this sector. So with my previous experience, we then had an idea of opening a sports nutrition shop as opposed to a sports shop. And yeah, I'll talk more in depth in a bit about how we went about it and how we did it. But that's basically how the idea came about. It went from a nightclub to a sports shop to then a sports nutrition shop. So as I said, it all started with an idea, and then gradually that idea became a reality.
So it kind of comes across that both of you want to achieve not necessarily success, but you want to be doing something that you're going to be enjoying. You're close friends, you could be in partnership. I'm guessing the kind of going into kind of supplements and kind of health and sports, because you both went to, I know, but you're both regular gym users. So that all kind of formed together, which is fantastic. When did it kind of hit where it was, you actually thought it was going to be possible? So, you know, you've got this idea, you're ticking all these boxes. When did it click that actually, yeah, this could work?
So we very much used, I guess you could say, the law of attraction on our side. We thought, so as soon as we thought we got the premises, you know, we saw the premises we wanted, we had a little look. As soon as we saw that and we knew the idea we wanted to go about, it was game time instantly from that day, from that very day. So we had a little bit of savings behind us, but we didn't have the finance we needed to open something along the lines of what we wanted to do. So our first obstacle was obviously finance, the most important thing. Before we had any means to finance, we immediately phoned the letting agent. We requested a tour of the premises, and I'll be honest with you guys, we acted as if we already had the money to put down for the place. So we were thinking, shit, like we don't know how we're going to do it, we don't know when we're going to do it, but we're just going to phone them, act as if we have the backing to do so, and start planning, and something will come along, you know. So yeah, it was from that very day we decided that we're going to do this one way or another. Yeah, that's it. So
obviously you've kind of gone down the path of, you know, you ran a letting agent and you said, you know, we've got potential finances. So what happens for, I'm just kind of going through the timeline of your business. So what happens after the phone call with the letting agent? You've been shown around. We don't have to go too much in terms of how much and everything, but with something like yourself, did you have to kind of rent out the premises? Is that how it works? And then from there, what do you do with all the supplements and everything and branding?
So it's a case of, so obviously the first thing is finance. So what we ended up actually doing was from the finance, I'll be completely open, it's not anything I need to hide, is the money we had to invest, we put towards it. And then another company also invested, so gave us the initial investment for an equity in the company. In return, we then pay them back over a period of a certain amount of time, and any profits we have within that time, they will then receive a dividend or a share of those profits until we pay them back plus interest.
That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah. So I think business-wise, for somebody who has an idea but they're not sure how to execute it, or they don't have the financial backing but they have the intelligence, as long as you're able to pitch your idea, you're able to structure exactly A to Z what you want, you just need to contact people willing to invest, and people who can see your vision. And you really have to present that vision and make sure you can get them to see the future, So don't just plan, okay, this month or the next 3 months. You need to plan 5 to 10 years for these sort of people to see that this is a long-term thing, because a lot of businesses now are opening and closing within 2 years.
Yeah.
The first 2 years as you know, the first 2 years of any business is the most crucial time. And especially the retail sector at the moment, it's very dangerous to open at the moment because of that time period and because of how many even major businesses are sort of failing now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what we did first. Strategize, pitched our idea, got the financial backing that we needed, and now we're in a good position where we're able to pay back that loan over a period of time. So so your question was, so the letting agent, we got a sort of tour of the premises, and it was back and forth for months actually. So we had this initial idea in March, we didn't open till June. Reason being, the letting agent was very back and forth, because you have the letting agent Then you have the landlord, which is Savills. So Savills is like a major retail letting agent, but they sort of hand all the work to another company. So it went through this company, then it went to Savills, but Savills kept going back and forth, and it wasn't finalised until the beginning of June that we had the premises. We still went ahead and sorted everything anyway. So obviously, as this business, you have your wholesalers, you have your direct sort of B2B. So, for example, one brand, Optimum Nutrition, we would go direct to, but then others we'd go to a wholesaler who deal with various brands. So contacting the wholesalers, obviously social media, getting that up and running. We got that up and running before we even had the premises. That's how confident we were in our abilities to actually be able to execute it. So it was a big risk, and there was a lot of pressure and stress at first, but we knew it would all come together in the end, you know.
And anyone kind of listening or watching this, like, you know, this is not just like a regular, well, not regular, but like, it's just not like a standard kind of supplement store. You know, it's not like something when someone hears our supplement, you know, just gone down that route. You know, it's an easy kind of side fitness thing. Like this, like you said, is carefully thought process where you've planned out for the next 5 or 10 years. Just a side note question: the kind of investors that you got and stuff, were they perhaps, and obviously I don't know who they are personally, but were they potentially like put off a little bit by your experience in terms of, you know, not actually already having a business in that market, or was it kind of they just trusted the process?
There were a lot of questions, and there was a lot of wing in it. So, being completely honest, so there was so for example, my experience, I've got managerial experience in this exact sector.
Yeah. So
managing day to day, managing sort of finance and stock, and you know the basic retail management I had in this sector. I was qualified to advise, so I specifically took a course in, it's not nutrition as in food, but it's sports supplement nutrition. Unfortunately the course no longer exists, but I went through the course, got the qualifications, and it's specifically to be qualified to advise in the sports nutrition sector.
Okay.
So dealing with actually what protein does, BCAAs, creatine, all of the supplements.
Yeah.
So that helps. Cameron studies sports science, so that sort of structural body point of it he can advise on.
Okay.
So we had a lot of questions, you know, such as how are you going to succeed compared to another brand who has already got experience in business, but they've closed down. And to be honest, the one thing I can advise is be genuine, be yourself. Because if you go in there pretending to be someone you're not, they will pick up on that very easily. You know, you can go in there giving all these figures and facts and statistics, but at the end of the day, if you're given a fake personality, they'll pick up on that. You know, so I just went in there, and Karen went in there, just being ourselves, telling them, look, this isn't 100% going to succeed. I said, look, there's a chance you could lose your money. However, I'm not going to come to you as a person and waste your time and waste your money if I strongly don't think it's going to succeed. So it's just all about letting them know, look, there is a risk here, but as a business person, I think you're at the point where you could be working at an advantage here. And so far, it is paying off. So it's just about finding someone who believes in you and who believes in your vision, and making sure you're just authentic as well. You know, how you see me on the screen right now is how I am in person. If somebody came and approached me in person, this is exactly how I'd act.
No, definitely.
You know? So I think that's the key thing to take away, is just be yourself, be authentic.
Fuck, man, this is inspiring shit, man. If someone's watching or listening to this not feeling motivated, it's mind blowing. And like you said, I think the same applies to any kind of personal trainers, online coaches watching this, or anyone in this kind of fitness industry business. It just goes to show that, you know, like you don't necessarily, I don't use the word fake, but like you don't put on like a persona. The more genuine you are, the more that you're yourself, showing different sides of personality, you know, good things happen, like yourself. So yeah, man, that was, if anyone can take one thing away from this, it's be yourself, be exactly who you are, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the P&G part. So How did the name? Because obviously we've spoken about the brand and marketing stuff, but
Yeah.
let's specifically talk about P&G Health. How did that come around?
So as we were planning, our original name was PGN, which is Progressive General Nutrition. However, it was actually the investor who said that doesn't really sound right. So we all sat we were actually at Costa actually. We all sat at Costa, and we just thought PGN doesn't sound right. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well. So eventually, just through thinking, we thought, how can we twist this? And P&G came alive, which is the Progressive Nutrition Group. And the reason we have the P, the Progressive, is because we're always striving to progress. And I don't know if you can see. Let me try and get it up. On our logo, it's a bit small. Hopefully you can see that. But on our logo, with the N's got an arrow pointing up. So we're very smart in it was very basic but effective. So the P, Progressive, means we're striving to progress. Nutrition, obviously sports nutrition, and group, because we eventually want to expand and be a team of people, have stores. So to call ourselves a group is a bit more professional.
Community as well, yeah.
And it sounds like a proper organisation.
Yeah.
As opposed to just two blokes in the shop.
So when you heard,
that's how the name came about.
When you heard that, were you like, yeah, that's it, like that's the one, and all mutually agreed?
We both agreed. Yeah, P&G is the one. Rolls off the tongue well, and I think it's a name that can be established very easily. I think short and effective names are very good.
Yeah.
I think with this, it's either 3 letters or a single syllable. So, for example, I don't want to say too many brand names, but you've got USN, which is like a sports brand, or you've got Ghost, which is 1 syllable. And I think having more than 1 syllable just makes it too long, and more than 3 letters is just, again, too long. So I think keeping it short and simple but effective is very good brand marketing.
Cool, man. So we've spoken about the marketing, the branding, the building investors. Last thing I want to touch on before I go on to some outside bits going into it.
Yeah.
In terms of the shop and the supplements and that, how does that all come around? Do you have contacts? Do you have links? Because obviously, if the guys are listening to this or watching this, P&G, you store pretty much majority of brands. There's a few that you don't store for like kind of certain reasons because it doesn't fit in with your business plan and everything.
Yeah.
But so how does that come around? Like you got the store. So, what happens?
This is a good question actually. So the first thing is first port of call is wholesalers. So wholesalers are essentially distributors who deal with various sports supplements. So one wholesaler may stock XYZ brand, another wholesaler may stock XYZ brands. But in our industry, I'll keep it completely sort of open. So in our industry, the best thing to do is go direct to brands, because if you can place big orders with brands, it means that we as a business would get the products cheaper, which means we can offer it cheaper. A lot of businesses in this sector, they will go direct to brands, get the products cheaper, but still keep them at the same price. So they're making more money. But our goal is to make the products as cheap as we possibly can. A lot of our products that we sell in line with online pricing, which is very rare for a retail brand to do so. With rare brands such as Ghost, as you know, so we stock some rare brands in store that people request. It's literally just bugging them. So Ghost, I think I dropped them 9 emails before they even got back to me. I was so persistent. We could have easily just said, you know what, we can't get Ghost, that's it, done. But 9 emails later, they replied and said, we currently don't deal with Ghost in the UK. We kept nagging, and then eventually we got a deal with them, and we're now the only retail unit to sell Ghost in the UK. So it's just about being yourself and nagging the hell out of people if you have to, and just showing your true self, because if you go there again with a fake personality, with a business sort of email saying that, oh, good morning, I am so and so from Exit. I said, hi, how are you doing? My name is David from P&G. We want to stock you. What can you do? So I think they respected that authenticity as well.
That's cool.
Wholesalers, B2B, so direct to brands, and yeah, they're the two sort of ways to do it, really.
That's wicked, man. Do you ever take a step back and be like, "Fuck, this is cool as shit, man"? Like this is like
100%.
when you just said that about the only person in, or the only store, sorry, in the UK to stock a Ghost, and obviously I'm a big fan of Ghost myself purely because of the tingles pre-workout and that. But do you ever think, "Fuck, this is cool, man. This is wicked"?
Mate, I'm telling you, it's mad because, like, I'm having conversations with people I look up to through the business, because I think, here's a side note, a lot of people try to get sponsored by brands, and people are so desperate to be sponsored by brands to say that they're an athlete. The brand gives them fuck all in return. The brand gives them nothing in return, and just a discount code. And I think rather than what I'm saying to people now is, rather than trying to be sponsored, try to sponsor. You know what I mean? So rather than going to a brand and saying, I want to be sponsored by you, think, fuck it, you know what, I'm going to save up, I'm going to look for investors, I'm going to start my own brand, and I'm going to sponsor people, So I think in this industry, people try too hard for status rather than finance. I don't care if nobody knows me, as long as everybody knows my business, then I'm happy. So this is no longer about me. Before this PNG, I was trying to become like an influencer or some sort of athlete or something. I wanted to compete in physique and bodybuilding and all this sort of stuff. But now, having PNG, my aim is to help other people to reach those sort of goals, while I'm sort of in the back end and growing the business. So it's great when people don't know me, but people know PNG. I love it. Because people are saying, "Oh, have you heard about PNG?" It's like, yeah, that's my baby. So I do look here and think, like, I can't believe we created this, because it's it is so easy day-to-day living to forget how far you've come.
Yeah.
And you just come into the shop and think, oh, this is here, without realizing, like, every day I'm so grateful for this. Especially from the sort of background I come from was not nowhere near wealthy or anything like that, and I've been through a lot of personal hardships. I've been through a lot of personal hardships. So to be here in this position, I think I'm a bit overwhelmed still.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I shouldn't be here in this position right now, but here I am.
that was the next question I was going to ask. I was going to say, as a whole, sum up this last kind of 18 months or a year, 18 months of yourself, like from where you were to, like, because it's a short space of time. When you think about it, it's a short space of time considering everything. Yeah. Sum up, like, exactly how's it been? Because obviously you spoke about personal reasons and stuff. How's it been for you? Obviously, you're in a fantastic position at the moment. Tell the listeners what it's been like.
Up and down, really. The last 18 months. The last year has been difficult because of PNG, but it's been exciting. And I feel as if I really needed this to push myself personally to another level, because I didn't really have much direction. I've always been an ambitious person, but I've never been able to execute, and to be able to actually plan this and execute it and reach where we're reaching now is amazing. But I mean, my personal background is very up and down as well. As I said, I moved to Oxford for personal reasons, then moved back to Essex. And I'll be open, sort of, and honest with this sort of podcast. I previously had a lot of sort of mental health issues, and I was battling with sort of that. And every time I got up somewhere, I would just come shooting back down. So the last 2 years I was on medication. I've received sort of counselling and therapy and stuff like that, and that's really helped me in a positive direction. So I won't talk too much about that, but the mental health side of things is something I'm still very big on now, and something that I like to advocate and help others. And I'm glad that I went through the hardships that I did, because now people come in with mental health issues, and as well as sort of recommending supplements, I can then give them advice on how I overcame things, and I even give people with my Instagram or personal number, not to pry or anything, just say, look, if you need anything, trust me, I've been through it, and I can help you. So I think P&G is more than just a business that wants to make money. You know, I genuinely want to sit here and help people, and I've got time for anybody that ever needs it. So I guess moral of the story in that sense is, whatever you're going through right now, or whatever you've been through, whatever you may go through in the future, you will get through it. You know, you just got to keep pushing. Things may look like it's the end now and there's no, you know, future or there's no opportunities, but trust me when I say to you guys, it's anything's possible, you know. And there's always it's a cliche saying, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And you have to keep pushing. You know, we've all got personal issues in our life. Even with P&G, I'm going through shit right now. You're probably going through shit. Everybody's got something they've got going on, but it's just moving forward and grinding and focusing. And there's always a way out. Always a way out.
Exactly. Yeah, you couldn't say it any better, and from a nicer and genuine guy. So definitely, I think people that listen to this understand, like, if you're a personal trainer, online coach, or anything like that, it's still a business. Obviously, it was a supplement. It's still a business, and you've got to accept that, you know, there is times where you go up and down, and things happen in personal life and everything like that. And like you touched on with the mental health and stuff. You know, there is times where you think, you know, it's not going to get any better or anything like that. But like you said, if you keep striving towards it, and if you find a purpose and keep striving towards something, good things happen. So absolutely spot on. I know your partner has played a massive part in that as well. I know you're quite good with her. So really pleased with that, man. Really pleased. Let's talk about kind of advice and guidance. So we obviously, you've touched on already on this podcast in terms of being genuine and things. What other advice to people that are looking perhaps start a business, maybe not like a supplement company, but anything to do with any kind of business or anything like that? What kind of advice and guidance would you give someone?
So this could be a lengthy conversation. So there are many factors before starting the business. So the first most important thing I would say, so the number one thing I'd recommend is plan. As I said earlier, we wasn't sure how we were going to do it. You know, we didn't have the financial means, we didn't have any premises, we didn't know how we were going to do it. All we knew is this is what we wanted to do, and one way or another we were going to get there. So you have to go in with the mentality of, whatever happens, I'm going to make this happen. So the number one thing is plan. So plan as accurately as you possibly can. You know, plan how much you need. I would say within a 5% difference. So for example, if you need just random number, 100 grand. So you'd say I need 95 to 110 grand just to cover yourself. So plan a certain amount you need. Plan everything you need. So for example, with us, it was how much on products, how much on shelving, how much on we've even got a sink. So how much on the sink, how much on the till system. You know, do we need a window cleaner? Everything. So and then write all of those down and calculate in a year how much money you're going to need to at least cover yourself for a year, including wages. You know, there's a lot of factors. So that's the first thing. Secondly is self-discipline. Now this is something I'm still working on, because being self-employed, having your own business, I could easily just, you know, say after this I'm going to go home and I'm going to put a post up and say, oh, close today. You know, it's having a self-discipline to make sure you need to, in a way, act as if you have. I feel I have the mentality that I have an area manager, and this area manager is always watching me. And if I don't do my job, then this area manager is gonna sack me or something, you know. So you need to have that self-discipline to think, right, what I'm doing right now, the hard work I'm putting in. So whether it's this, whether it's an online coach, personal trainer, the work I'm putting in now, financially is going to reward me, and mentally is going to reward me, because I know I'm helping people and providing a service, you know. Third thing, got me stuck now.
So plan, self-discipline, and
keep pushing. The first 3 months we opened, we were working at a massive loss, and it was looking really bad. Not to the point where we were going to close, but it was looking quite bad. So we kept riding it out, and eventually the growth just started. So don't be disheartened if the first few months you're failing or you're not where you want to be, things aren't looking good. You just have to keep pushing, keep thinking of ways. Another thing is 21st century, you have to be on social media, whatever your business is. If you're not on social media, you're going to lose, hands down. In Chelmsford, I don't know if you know, Nath, but in Chelmsford, leafleting is banned, so you can't go out and leaflet. The council will give you an ASBO.
What's the ASBO?
It's crazy. The A boards, so like the advertisement boards, you can't put them outside. So radio isn't really effective, and radio is very expensive. We were quoted for a week's worth of Essex radio broadcasts. We were quoted £4,000 for a week, and it would have reached a lot of people, but nobody would have listened. Whereas if you put £4,000 into social media or Instagram or Facebook, you're going to kill it.
Yeah.
Be generous within the first 2 years. So we do it. You've seen yourself on PNG's Instagram. We do a lot of giveaways. Now this puts us out of pocket, but that's part of our marketing budget. So you have to be generous, and you have to do things that are going to provide genuine value for people. And in return, people will look at your business and see how generous you're being, and want to support you because you're essentially giving things away, or you're providing that value. When a customer comes in, we'll sometimes give them a protein bar or a free drink or something just to make them feel like we care, and we're giving them something in return. Be of value and be of service. If you're in something purely to make money, we all want to be rich. I'm here partly because I want to be rich. But if you're doing something purely for monetary gain, you're not going to make it very far. You have to be of value, so you have to give that value back to your people. So whether it's clients, whether it's customers, and you don't have to be a business owner necessarily to do this. You could, even in your day job, you could still do this if you want. If you're looking for promotion or something, be of value and be of service. So whatever somebody needs, do your very best to get it. If I have a customer message right now saying I need X brand that we don't stock, that's very hard to get, I will look absolutely everywhere. I'll call everyone I know just to try and get that product, just to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
So treat every customer as an individual, not a statistic. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say today we had 50 customers and that's it, they spent this much money, great, good job, well done. However, you need to think, okay, who spent the money today? Which customer do we have? Whether somebody spends £1, whether someone spends £100. I'll sometimes DM people just to say thank you for shopping with us today. It was great to see you. Just so there's a genuine interaction there.
Yeah, mad. Mate, you're giving some serious content, I tell you.
I can talk all day, man.
Serious value, honestly.
You know what? Another thing on a side note is, last year I would not have been able to do this podcast. I struggled so bad with anxiety, I could not hold a conversation. And just to sit here now and talk to you and talk to you guys, is something I personally didn't even think I could do a year ago. So back to the whole point of whatever you're going through now, it will get better. It will improve.
Exactly, mate. And like you said, little steps as well. Like you've taken each kind of day, and obviously you just progress crazy high.
Exactly.
In terms of the question, in terms of the guidance and advice, when you said about the first kind of 3 months for the losses, do you think that's partly because you're you're not a chain company, you're a small company, it's purely word of mouth? Like for example, like now, my clients that I have, they'll speak about. There's one of my clients, Maxine. She'll talk about the I don't know what brand it is, but you sell like kind of like donuts there, like protein donuts. And she was talking about that, and all my clients will bring up you guys first. So it's not like myself or anyone else talking about your company. People are actually talking about it themselves. So do you think the first 3 months, obviously, it just takes a while for people to know you're there? Did you kind of anticipate that?
It's all about momentum.
Yeah.
So the first few months is all about getting your foot in the door, getting out there, promoting, and people. You need to build that trust with your customers or with your clients if you're a personal trainer or online coach. And it's all about building that trust and showing people who you are behind the brand and in front of the brand. So I think a massive factor is local support. People will come in and have a chat. talk, a customer will be in for 10-20 minutes just talking about their day and how they're doing and stuff like that. So I think the first few months is building that trust, building that rapport with the customers, and getting that customer retention, because you can only get a certain amount of new customers, so it's all about that customer retention and retaining. If someone comes in and you're slumped like this and you don't look happy to be there, people aren't going to want to come back. Whereas if you're up straight, you're confident, you're happy, and you provide genuine service, and you don't oversell them as well. I think that's the most important thing for us, that we didn't oversell the customer, because if someone comes in and you're selling things they don't need, there's a lot of big chains that do that in this sector. The customer will go in and they will just sell them unnecessary things they don't need. Customers not likely to come back because they feel like they've been ripped off. So provide genuine service. But yeah, going off a bit. Back to the first few months. Yeah, definitely. I think it's just about getting your foot in the door, getting that local support, and just promoting.
Exactly.
Just promote. Don't think about. I think if you're starting a business, the first 3 to 6 months, don't even think about making money. Just think about marketing, promoting. And another side note, when you're starting your business and when you're planning, make sure, this is very important, make sure you have a budget for marketing. A lot of people do all this planning, and the one thing they forget is a budget for Instagram, for Facebook, for leaflets, for logos, and all of this stuff, adds up to quite a hefty cost.
Very key part as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Last question I want to ask you before I get onto a few mini questions.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on it already, but what inspires you to keep going and keep doing better each day, like both you and Cameron?
For me personally, it's providing a future for my family.
Nice, man.
That's the main thing for me. Is when I'm feeling like a bit demotivated, or I want to lay in bed, I think of my family not having a great future. So I think when I say family, I also mean close friends, and so just people around me. So I will always, me as an individual, I will always put other people before myself, which isn't a good or bad thing. It's just my character. So for me, it's just making sure that I've got that future stability, because I'm 23 now. But I'm thinking about 33, 43, 53, 63. Because one day I'm going to have children, I'm going to have grandchildren, I'm going to have great-grandchildren. And for me, it's a bigger vision. It's not just, I want a new car, I want to buy a house, I want to be stunting, I want to go out and pop bottles and shit like that. For me, it's having such an abundance of wealth.
So I'm going to go on to the questions now, which have been asked. I'm actually going to change this one if you don't mind. So someone called Stevens asked, would you think this was possible 3 to 4 years ago? And obviously we've kind of touched on that a little bit.
Who asked that, sorry?
Someone called Stevens asked that question. So I thought, because obviously you've kind of touched on already, I thought I'm just going to change it over and sort of ask, in terms of P&G, where do you see yourself in 3 to 4 years?
With P&G, okay.
Yeah, man.
So without saying too much about the future ventures, so P&G, 3 to 4 years, we want to expand. So physical sites. So we want another 3 to 4 actual shops around the UK. We want to be online. The online, touch wood, will be happening the end of the month. So P&G online. So then people, UK national, can do sort of deliveries. For us, with the online thing, it's just working out the logistics. As a new company, in terms of shipping, so like DPD or whoever you go with for your postage, is very the rates are ridiculous. So the rates, our biggest obstacle is we're being quoted stupid rates for shipping, which as a business isn't viable for us. So we had to look for alternative means to actually get the product shipped, which we have found a way now. We will take a hit initially with the online, but long term it'll be worth it. So yeah, online. and we're also working on a few other things. So as you know, we're soon to be, within 6 months we'll be launching our own brand, which is separate from P&G, so our own supplement brand, and potentially our own clothing brand as well, small clothing brand. So that's a secret project at the moment, because we want to make sure, I don't want to talk too much about it because we want to perfect it before we release. One thing I've learned to do is do and then talk rather than talk and do. You know, I could easily sit here and say, look, here's everything we're going to do, blah, 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 here's all the plans, and it could not happen. So make sure I've got the actual products first before I then talk about it and rave about it, which is exactly what I did with P&G. You know, I didn't really tell many people that it was happening until around a week or 2 weeks before we actually opened. And people were like, whoa, shit, is this yours? So with me, it's more than just P&G. So P&G, 3 to 4 years, I said, more sites, be online, have members of staff working for us. And I've always liked the idea of having employees for the brand, because I think they'd love it. Because I'm just a regular bloke, I'm not really a corporate-headed person. I'm just a regular bloke who hustles and grinds, you know. And I think having me as a sort of manager, if you like, I don't even like that word, would be really good, because I wouldn't go in like a bossy sort of person, you know. As long as people are doing their jobs and everything's cool, you know, I'll go in and have lunch with people and just chill with the staff members. So that, for me, that's like an exciting little thing.
That's cool.
That I'm ready for. But yeah, for me, so for P&G, but for me personally, 3 to 4 years, I want to sort of start investing in a few other bits. I want to sort of start being able to provide for family a bit more, and give back to the community a bit more. Especially, as I said, I'm big on mental health, so I want to start long term doing something to help, genuinely help people. You know, because there's a lot of organisations, but I don't feel like physically anything's being done in that sense of things. So I think doing something to actually help people in crisis and in need. You know, on a quick side note, I think my philosophy is, no matter how much money you have, you could be the greediest guy in the world. We're all going to be gone one day. So why not spend your life trying to help others and doing good for the world and doing good for other people, and being positive rather than being greedy, being about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because inevitably there's only two things that are guaranteed in life, and that's life and death. You know, so true, I think throughout this course, just to provide value. So yeah, 3 to 4 years. That's what I want to do, really. Fantastic,
man. Last question from Adam. What was the first product you stored or first product you bought for the company? Like, who was the first?
In terms of brand?
Supplements, yeah.
First one we bought, I think it was USN, Muscle Fuel Anabolic, which is like a massive tub. It's like a mass gainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing that arrived. But the thing is, we ordered it was a batch of products. So they all arrived at once from a wholesaler. So, but I think the first product we actually physically unboxed and touched was a big tub of Muscle Fuel.
Oh man! Did you pick it up and think, okay, shit, this is getting serious, man? Like,
yeah. Honestly, like behind the scenes, the graph behind the scenes was crazy. The day before we opened it, we were there till 3 a.m, finished everything. We didn't think we'd be finished. We opened the store half full because things went out and the till system messed up, so we then had to reprogram the till system. But we opened anyway, and that's another point actually I want to touch on before so we get to the next point is even if you start something and it doesn't start how you planned it or how you mapped it, start it anyway. Because if you wait for something to be perfect, you don't know when the right time is going to be. So you just have to go for it, learn from your mistakes, and just keep progressing. You know.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that can be applied to any kind of social media or anything like that. Like, if you always wait for that right time, and fair enough, there is a certain time where you might need to hold back a little bit, but you just got to go for it, haven't you? 100%. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And also sacrifice as well. For me, I sacrificed my training intensity, and training's always been a big thing for me, and that was my number one thing before here. But I think when starting a business, you have to sacrifice time in other areas in order to, at least for the first couple of years, in order to grow your business. You know, because if you're putting more time into socializing or watching TV or something, it's great. You need that downtime. But if you're putting too much into that rather than your business, you're not going to maximise your chances to succeed.
Yeah.
So I think if you're failing, also if you're failing in your business, or if your business isn't expanding as fast as you want it to, just see where you're putting your time in, and try and change the hours you're putting in. Mm-hmm. Having said that, make sure that hours are quality hours. So if you're here 12, 13 hours a day and only 4 of them hours are, what's the word I'm looking for? You're actually putting in work in those 4 hours, and the rest are just there because you want to be there for 12 hours. There's no point in being there. So make sure every hour you're there is a productive hour. Great. I'd rather, if I was to hire someone, I'd rather see somebody work 6 hours a day and be the most productive person in that day than work 9 hours a day and have 3 hours of doing nothing, you know. So it's all about being productive in the time that you're executing that thing.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Spot on, man. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap the podcast up there. I think like you've given some incredible insight, incredible knowledge, value, everything, and I think like yourself, anyone that listens to this, go back and listen to it again, because you know, for someone like yourself, like you said, you're incredibly humble. You started from nothing. You've run with an idea. You've done it for the right purposes. Like you said, you want to be successful, because if you sat back and be like, I don't want to be successful, I'm just doing this for the sake of it, you'd be lying. Everyone would be lying.
Yeah, exactly. Most definitely.
But that takes a back note. Like, you want to kind of enjoy it sounds really weird, it sounds all scientific-y, but you're on Earth. Everyone's on Earth for a different purpose. Your one is to help as many people as possible to do what you enjoy, to basically love your life. And for me, listening to that, very, very inspiring, very motivating. If anyone's listening to this, should be highly inspired by yourself. And like you said, anything's possible, man.
If I didn't, just for your viewers, if there's anything I didn't cover, or if there's anything that I didn't really make very clear, because I'm not the best at talking for this long, so feel free to just drop me a message either on my Instagram or PNG or whatever, and I'll be happy to answer the best I can.
I was going to say, well, if you just want to link your socials, so what's your Instagram and what's the PNG one?
So the PNG is we're on Instagram at PNG_Chelmsford, and my personal Instagram is d.jr with 2 underscores afterwards. So yeah, just hit me up if you guys have got any questions, or if there's anything that I didn't cover that you want to know, and I'll be happy to answer you the best I can.
Fantastic, dude. And I'll be in next week picking up the Old Time Nutrition Creamy Toffee, which I've been having for like a year, man. Game changer, bro. Making the old pace.
Very good brand.
But thanks so much for coming on, buddy. I'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, thanks again, man.
Perfect. All right, take care.
Cheers, dude. Bye.
Bye-bye.